Malloy Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. here on the TAN Talk Radio Network.
From the Sunshine State, this is Tampa Bay's TAN Talk.
Only in America can a guy from anywhere go to sleep a pauper and wake up a millionaire. Only in America can a kid without a cent get a break and maybe grow up to be president. Only in America, land of opportunity, yeah. Would a classy girl like you fall for a poor boy like me? Only in America, and a kid who's washing cars take a giant step and reach right up and touch the stars. In America.
So who would you like the most run against if you're us, if we want to win? Ready? Kamala Harris, crooked Joe Biden. I don't think we have to go too much, though. From the moment we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden and Kamala, I call her Laughing Kamala. You ever watch her laugh? She's crazy. You know, you can tell a lot by her laugh. No, she's crazy. She's nuts.
And you can tell a lot by a laugh. That's Donald Trump, the president, the greatest president in the history of at least this decade, I feel. And, you know, this guy, at least this century, I feel. Ever, I feel. He took a bullet. He took a bullet. Joe Biden took millions of dollars. Kamala Harris, what did she ever give back? What did she ever give? The border czar went down to the border and it got worse and worse and worse. And she never even really went to the border, but they made her the border czar. The prosecutor from San Francisco, California prosecutor, put a lot of African Americans in jail. Sure did. For smoking dope, smoking marijuana, and she smoked marijuana herself. At least that's the story. She wants to run your country. She wants to run America. She says she can run it just like Joe. She can run it just like Joe. Democrats have sold out Joe Biden just like Democrats do. 14 million Democratic voters voted in the primary, and they wanted Joe. They wanted Joe. But Schumer, Obama, Pelosi said, Joe, you got to go. You got to go. And nobody knows where he went. Nobody knows. He's back today, wandering around, walking between the car and the airplane, I guess. Nobody knows where he's been for the last 5 or 6 days while America falls apart at the seams at the border. Border is flowing. Millions and millions of people have come into this country through the border. Fentanyl is overtaking the streets. Probably the streets of San Francisco are full of a lot of fentanyl. What's Kamala going to do about it? She raised $100 million. Well, she didn't raise it. Big donors. They just don't want Trump in. They do not want Trump in the presidential office at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And this is the America that we live in right now. We're living a nightmare in this country. Inflation. Have you been to the stores? Have you been shopping lately? Do you see how much you get for a bag of groceries? It's not very much. It's not like it used to be under Donald Trump. Donald Trump had the lowest inflation. He had people working, new jobs. Country was humming. Does anybody remember when gasoline was below $2 a gallon? Does anybody remember? I know you do. I know you do. And if you're a Democrat, what did you get from Joe Biden? And what are you getting from the Democratic Party right now? They just threw the person that, if you're a Democrat and you voted in the primary, he didn't run against anybody, but they put him in as their nominee. And now he's stepping down. A lot of people didn't think he would. A lot of people thought maybe he wouldn't. But once Obama, Schumer, Pelosi, Jeffries, all the senators and the congressmen on the Democratic side, this democracy, they talk about democracy. They threw democracy out the window by making Joe go. Donald Trump kind of, gave the final knockout in the debate. Everybody remembers the debate that watched it on national television. People saw it. Joe Biden was stumbling. They had lied to us, the Republicans, telling us that he was fine. But we saw it, and so did the Democrats. And the Democrats responded with, we're going to get him out. We're going to get him out of the office. It's amazing how this works. Hey, how you doing, Ed? How's Ed doing tonight? Ed is probably just thinking about who's going to run for president, I think, right? Nobody really knows. Maybe we could play a clip if you want. It's amazing.
If you thought Joe Biden was radical, just wait until you get to know Kamala Harris. She's dangerously liberal.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her.
For far too long, the status quo thinking has been to believe that by putting more police on the street, you're going to have more safety. And that's just wrong.
You're confident this border's secure?
We have a secure border.
We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. That's correct.
People who are convicted in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, they should be able to vote.
I think we should have that conversation.
Abolish ICE.
Yeah.
Is that a position that you agree with?
Listen, I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the darling of the party. She had 2 minutes this weekend proudly calling herself a radical, and she's promoting policies like saying that every single carbon emission in the country, every car, should be eliminated within the next 11 years, everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate. Do you agree that she could possibly, in this ideology of the socialist left, could splinter your party?
No, I think that that's fantastic.
Clintons joined. They were quick to support Kamala Harris. The Clintons quickly joined by a flood of Democratic Party members. Elizabeth Warren joined. Patty Murray from Washington. Mark Warner from Virginia. Mark Kelly and Tina Smith from Minnesota. Jared Huffman, Cori Bush, even AOC joined the gang to take out their president. This man that was so wonderful a few days ago is gone. He's done. He's still going to run the country. That's good. If Kamala's so good, Joe, why don't you let her run the country right now? Why don't you just go to the beach and let Kamala have all the headaches? You're afraid that she's not going to be able to handle it? She's got Obama to hold her hand. What are you thinking? In August, come on, man. We're going to miss all that. We're going to miss you. We're going to miss everything about you. But Donald Trump coming back stronger, coming back leaner, coming back richer, coming back better than any Republican nominee in the history of the Republican Party. The Republican National Convention last week was a convention of unity. And then Joe Biden tries to take all the hurrahs out of the room by going away for the weekend. Decided to go back to I got COVID. A lot of people aren't convinced he got COVID. And then there was the shooting in Pennsylvania from the rooftop. The FBI director went before the Congress this week, and she resigned. She's resigned. She's out as well. Nobody stood behind her. A lot of the congressmen, congresswomen wanted her out. They told her, we'll let you resign right now. And they even think they caught her maybe perjuring herself. And maybe she did. She's not telling us something. Was there a second shooter? Was there a third shooter? Are they still out there? Are they still out there, the shooter? If there was a second shooter, not telling us some kid could climb up on a building with an AR-15 and shoot the president of the United States, the man running for the second term, and kill a man in the audience. And she takes it lightly. She doesn't answer the questions that the Congress wanted to know. The head of the Secret Service. Is Donald Trump safe? Is he safe as he goes out to these rallies? A lot of people think that maybe he's not. And I'm sure that he's got his own people in charge helping him. And I'm sure that he has a new idea about security. Said he took a bullet for America. And when he was down, he thought maybe it was it. You know, he said God spared his life. This is what he's saying right now. People thought maybe Donald Trump would maybe drop out of the race after this, but he didn't. He went to the Republican National Convention, appointed J.D. Vance to be his, I look at him as a pit bull. I think he's going to be a pit bull for Donald Trump. I think he's going to make people know how great this man is, this Donald Trump. Just the opposite of Pence. Does anybody remember Mike Pence? Well, now you got J.D. Vance, 39-year-old senator from Ohio, is going to be the vice president under Donald J. Trump. And he's already going to rallies. He's got Trump 2, another jet Donald just handed to him. There you go, J.D. This is your jet. This is your jet, probably for the next 4 years, as long as I get reelected. But you won't need it if I get elected. But he'll probably have him fly it anyway. Donald Trump is the kind of person that doesn't hold any punches. People love him. Millions and millions of people love him. And the Democrats showed how much they loved Joe Biden. They got rid of him. Just like that. Chuck Schumer came out. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic minority leader in the House of Representatives, came out. They're worried about their seat. They're worried about their seat in November, that the down ballots underneath Donald J. Trump will go to Republicans. That's what they're worried about. So let's put somebody like Kamala in. She's a real winner. She couldn't win the primary. She was the first one to drop out in when they were running that time, when they were trying to run for election. Kamala Harris was the first one to drop out. So we'll see. Time will tell. But Biden's out of the race. Joe Biden wrote a letter to the Americans, said, "My fellow Americans, July 21st, 2024, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and in expanding I can't read this. I can't read this letter. I can't get through it. It's 4 or 5 paragraphs. I can't get through it because it's all lies. It's all lies. Joe Biden's whole presidency was a lie. He was a lie, and they're still lying to us about Joe Biden. The border's wide open. He doesn't mention the millions and millions of people that have come into this country. He doesn't say how the military has gone down in their greatness. He doesn't say how he's going to get us back to be energy independent. All he wants to do is sell Americans the idea that we need to drive electric cars, get rid of the gasoline-driven cars. And Kamala's worse. She's from California. California is the worst state in the country when it comes to the green scam. The green scam is what Donald Trump calls it. The president won't seek re-election. He backs Kamala. White House staff in the dark till last minute. Dems are scrambling as the GOP on attack. Run and done stun, New York Post reports. Jill pours out her heart to Joe. Jill Biden says she showed her love for her husband, Joe, after he announced he was suspended. She really loved him. She loved him so much that she made him go right down to where he couldn't walk up the stairs to the airplane anymore. A man that had been in politics for over 50 years. She really loved him. She put, "I'm nothing but proud today. Nothing but proud," his granddaughter said, "of my pop." Granddaughters are backing him. I understand that part. But Jill, I don't understand. She knew many, many months ago that Joe Biden was ready for the retirement home back in Wilmington, Delaware. Could have lived out his life, could have retired in honor, but he retired in dishonor. He was kicked out. He was kicked out. Can you grasp that? The Democrats, who are always so in tune with each other. What's going to happen at the convention next month in August in Chicago? Is Barack Obama going to lead the way? Maybe lead his wife, Michelle, up to the podium to accept the nomination? People are talking about that too. Donald Trump doesn't even know who he's running against. He spent all that money running against Joe Biden, and Joe just drops out. It's never happened before. This doesn't happen this close to an election ever in the history of America. This has never happened this close to an election. He won the primary. Millions and millions of Democrats voted for him. They want Joe. But Obama and Schumer and the other Democrats turned on him, just like they turned on America. They turned on America, sending money to Ukraine, to Zelensky, war over there, politicians, war machine, military machine, open borders, crime in the streets, so many problems. It's depressing, but Donald Trump is... he's a light. He's kind of a shining light right now in the Republican Party. And the Republicans think he's going to win. But you got to get out and vote. You got to get out there and try to tell other people to vote. If you want to give us a call at this station, 727-441-3000, 727-441-3000. We'll be playing another sound bite now. And, we can listen to this one. Can't hear it.
Quite colorful.
There you go.
In your address yesterday.
Well, I was simply saying aloud what every American was thinking yesterday, because we watched her run circles. We watched her talk in generalities. We watched her really have a dishonest display of defiance yesterday, and her either inability or, worse yet, unwillingness to answer questions that every American deserved to hear. And last night I was so frustrated by what the hearing showed, her inability to answer our questions. I filed a motion to force a vote on her impeachment. So if the Biden administration wasn't going to fire her, I'll take her resignation. That's the next best thing. But we were willing to force a vote on it, put people's sentiments on the table, and let the American people see what we're made of. People want action. We can still have her subpoenaed, even though she's resigned, to appear before different committees, judiciary, or before the Senate and other committees who are continuing this investigation. She can still be compelled by law to show up and answer questions, even though she's resigned.
She's resigned, and they had her yesterday. They had her on the ropes, and today she resigned from the Secret Service, and they've already appointed another director of the Secret Service, and it's a sham. It's a sham. And Donald Trump wasn't protected that day. I'm convinced that many, many Americans want to find the answers. And this is why Congress had her come in yesterday and the day before and try to talk about what happened. But she refused to answer questions to Congress about an assassination attempt on a former president of the United States and a murder of a Trump supporter. And 2 other people were shot. And people aren't buying what happened. It's just not sure what happened. Joe Biden, the fight to keep him up top of the ticket. He said he's going to not run for re-election, but he wants to continue his his leading as president of the United States of America. How's that looking? How do people feel about that? Why can't Kamala run it? Why can't Kamala take over the country right now? Why can't she? You know, she knew he was declining. I'm sure she did. I'm sure that Trump's people knew this was going to happen. Probably they didn't know that Biden was going to just abruptly leave after the GOP convention. But the debate kind of did him in. And now they're giving $100 million to Harris already. She's already raised $100 million. Harris, 59, the leading candidate to replace Biden at the top of the Democratic ballot after he ended his reelection campaign, was instrumental in hiding his condition, many Republicans have said. Not only would Harris be a disaster in the White House, but she also helped Biden cover up his declining health while in office, which destroys her credibility, Laura Trump said. An anti-Harris ad from Trump's super PAC began stirring in key battleground states. Kamala was in on it. She covered up Joe's obvious mental decline. She wasn't the only one in on it. Kareem Jean-Pierre would have the press conference every day. She was in on it. Chuck Schumer would meet with President Biden. He was in on it. Joe Biden was in on it. Barack Obama was in on it. They all were in on it. They knew that he was declining in his health. So why do they feel that he can continue to run this great country? This country that is so great with so much hope lying ahead. Is he going to be able to handle the pressures of running America? I don't believe he is. Most people don't believe he is, even the Democrats, but he's still in there. They don't trust Kamala Harris enough to go in and run it right now. They want to put her in an election that's probably going to be, who knows what they're going to do with this election this time. Who knows? But a lot of people think Joe is better than Kamala. Maybe he is. I think they're both the same. I think she might be worse. But it's amazing that House Speaker Mike Johnson said Sunday before Biden's announcement that he had seen the president deteriorate behind the scenes. Johnson, congressman from Louisiana, Speaker of the House, suggested that Republicans would likely challenge Biden's replacement. I didn't want to come out and talk about personal interactions with the president because I've been concerned about the projection of weakness on the world stage. And that is a very dangerous time, Johnson said. We're in a very dangerous time right now. War going on in Ukraine. You know, we're giving money to Ukraine to shoot at Russia. Vladimir Putin, not afraid of Joe. He's not afraid of Biden. China and Taiwan, off the coast of Taiwan and the Philippines, flexing their muscle. Kim Jong-un probably shooting off missiles, Rocket Man. Does anybody remember how Donald Trump treated Kim Jong-un? Well, they respected Trump. You know, Trump was a man that people were afraid of him in some ways, afraid of him because he was a man that did what he said he was going to do. You know, he didn't take any punches. And this is what he wants to do again. After getting hit by a bullet, by a sniper's bullet, he's right up there the next day, and he's right out at a rally within a week. 1 week to the day, he was back on the stage in Michigan talking to thousands of people. Grand Rapids, Michigan. There's Donald Trump up there talking. Feels he was saved by God. Talking about God. Nobody wants to talk about God when it comes to politics, it seems like this day and age. It's something that people just steer clear of. But not Donald Trump and not a lot of the Republican Congress people right now or senators. Some of them are very, very much people of faith, but not. It's not happening in the Democratic Party. 106 days, 105 days left to the election. Trump doesn't know who will be his opponent. Trump still doesn't know. Trump wants to debate Kamala already. He's already talking about a debate with Kamala Harris. He wants to see what she's got. She could be tough or she could be easy. We don't know. But he's not waiting. He's not waiting. Let's play another clip, Ed. And he's not waiting. He's just keeps going to the rallies. And, it's amazing that he has this ability to be able to do that. Where does he get all of his energy, Donald J. Trump? It's all been almost 10 years since he came down the escalator back in June of 2015. And we're waiting for election day in hopes that he will win, become the 47th president of the United States. That's what we hope.
Does Joe feel betrayed by any of that, or does he understand that it was for the country also?
I mean, look, he's going to speak tomorrow. We'll hear from him directly, and I think he'll address whatever is on his heart. Like you said, he has a big heart.
Yeah.
He understands where people are. He understands having done this 36 years as a senator, 8 years as vice president, and now almost 4 years as president. He gets it. He gets where we are as a country. Let's not forget, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake, guys.
They're not kidding.
Our democracy is at stake. A woman's right to choose and to make decisions on their own bodies at stake. And let me
people's incomes
are at stake. There's so much voting rights is at stake, and he gets that. I mean, let's not forget why he ran in the first place. In 2020, he decided to jump in. He didn't have to.
Yeah.
He decided to jump in because he wanted to really save the soul of this nation.
Save the soul of the nation. And Donald Trump says that crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president, and he's certainly not fit to serve. He only attained the position of president by lies. Fake news, they covered it up too. They knew there was problems with Joe. They knew that Joe wasn't able to run the country, probably for many, many months. The fake news, they're so out of touch with the American people, with the working man, with the middle class, even with the lower class, the bottom class of the country. They're out of touch. The homeless people that are laying in the streets in these cities. The Democrats don't want to try to find out a way to solve the problem. They want to just continue to see more and more and more illegal migrants come into this country and take away the benefits that people have worked for. Social Security, can you imagine? They're giving Social Security to the migrants. At least that's what they say. Donald Trump says that now look what he's done to our country with millions of people coming across our border totally unchecked. And by the way, Donald Trump said the border saved his life. Did you hear him say that? The border chart that he was looking at. He turned his head, and within a split second, the bullet flew by his head, hit his ear, but it saved his life. The border. Donald Trump wants to see America saved. Saved America. Save the country. He continued, we will suffer greatly because of Joe Biden's presidency, but we will remedy the damage he has done very quickly. Make America great again. MAGA. He talks about MAGA still. J.D. Vance is he's out there doing the same thing right now. There's a double punch back at Kamala Harris. And she doesn't even know who she's going to pick as her vice president. She's got a lot of choices, they say. She's got different choices that she's thinking of. She's got Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary. He's vying. Gavin Newsom, good choice. California governor. You get a vice president and a president from California. Gretchen Whitmer. She's in the top three, it seems like. While she publicly swatted away rumors, Gretchen, that she could replace Biden at the top of the ticket, the Michigan governor has said nothing about serving as the VP. Hailing from a battleground state, Whitmer could be a significant boost for the Democrats who see it as a paramount to their odds of prevailing. And then there's J.B. Pritzker, the guy that owns the billionaire, that owns the hotel chain. If money is a concern, the Illinois governor, Pritzker, has more than enough money to make a serious bid. Yeah, he's a billionaire, heir to the family wealth from the Hyatt hotel chain. Pritzker has dumped tens of millions of dollars to ensure his own success. And then Josh Shapiro, you hear a lot about him. I don't know that much about him. The Pennsylvania governor sailed through the governor's office. And see, they want to get the battleground states. They want to get, and even Elizabeth Warren is mentioned. Pocahontas, as Donald Trump calls her, the senator from Massachusetts, was another competitor. So they've got a challenge going on right now, because maybe Obama will decide to kick Harris out at the Democratic National Convention in the town of Obama in Chicago, where he's going to get the presidential library to a tune of about $2 billion. $2 billion they're going to spend on a convention, a library for Biden. Oh, not Biden, for Obama. Biden may not even get one now, but he's hurting. He's really hurting. They really put a hurting on Joe. They really did, you know. You think about the rhinos, you think about the people like Mitt Romney, and you think about Liz Cheney and how they go after Trump, the never Trumpers. But now look at the never Bidens: Schumer, Obama, Hillary, Bill Clinton, turned on him just like that. Senator for all those years, good Democrat, worked with all the people, brought everybody into the tent. And he's out of the tent now. He's heading back to Wilmington. He may lose his house. He may end up, Hunter may end up going to jail because he's not going to be able to. Well, maybe that's why he's staying in. That's another thing people are saying. He might be staying in to pardon his son, Hunter. Trump is climbing in the polls better than Kamala Harris. He does much better against Biden and all other Democrats floated as potential replacements earlier this month. A new poll released July 12th found 50% of registered voters nationwide supported Biden's 2024 candidacy and 48% backed Trump. Harris received the same 50% support facing 2020. In 2020, California Governor Gavin Newsom fared the same as Trump, 50-48. So they got those real close. So Trump wants it too big to rig. He wants people to start voting as soon as those ballots come out. He wants people to start sending them in. He wants it so big. And will he get the voters out? Will the voters come on election day? That's the hope. That's the hope, because they say it's going to be a close election day when we find out who's going to run. Right now, Kamala Harris is in the front runner's place right now. Joe Biden's going to continue to run the country, but I don't think he's running it. If he can't run for re-election, why should he be able to run the country? You know, that's what a lot of people are saying right now, because he should just retire. It's for some reason they don't want to put Kamala in that presidential office right now for some reason, but they want her to be elected in November. I'm not sure what kind of deal they worked. You know, the ice cream sundae president, they're calling him, won't be fixed by him stepping aside. It's not going to be long before Biden's performance in the debate. A majority of Americans decided he wasn't up to the job. Gallup approval rating was a dismal 38%. Kamala Harris, the likely nominee, may brag that she can use the tall steps on Air Force One, but in every other way, she owns its disasters. She wants to go up the steps of Air Force One, but she's not president. She's got to go in the Air Force Two, unless Joe's on Air Force One with her. Biden will spend the rest of his presidency lying about all this. He claims he came into office when COVID was raging, and it wasn't. The first vaccine was given in December 2020, and most Americans were given the shot before he took the oath. He said that inflation was already high. It was only 1.2%. And that he created millions of jobs with COVID over. Companies started hiring again. It would take more than 2 years to recover all the jobs lost during the pandemic. Getting a nice raise would have softened the blow, but Biden had a plan to make sure that didn't happen. He rescinded all of Trump-era policies. The border has let in at least 10 million people, the New York Post reports, illegally, flooding the job market and driving down the cost of labor, not to mention adding an enormous burden on taxpayers from Texas to New York. This particular millstone hangs heavy on Kamala Harris. She was made the border czar, a job she soon ignored. People who waved in with the flimmiest of asylum claims. We must solve the root causes, Harris claimed. Then nothing. Venezuela is still setting in people. Haiti is in chaos. Mexico doesn't care about securing the border. It was a con and it was a lie. The Inflation Reduction Act did nothing to lower inflation. The prices of everything are high under Joe Biden and under Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris wants to get rid of the police. Do you remember her during the George Floyd riots when she supported the BLM? Maybe we play one more clip, I guess, Ed. And, we got to figure that it's kind of, they really did them. They really did them in, the Democrats. People aren't saying that. They're just got the news media behind them, but it's wrong what they did to Joe. Wrong. Really wrong. Not sure what happened, but we're still on.
Ben was right. We have to have somebody that can protect us. Right now, we have really low IQ people in there. And the president in particular, he has about a 70 IQ, and he's going against 210. And it never works out. It never works out. When I'm back in the White House, the way they will sell their product in America is to build it in America. They have to build it in America, and they have to use you people to build it. Thank you very much. It's very simple. We will build American, buy American. We're going to hire American. We're going to get it going. We're going to get the auto industry back. It's ridiculous. I will revoke China's most favored nations trade. They have a most favored nations trade status. They've had it for years. We had it revoked, and then we had that stupid election, that ridiculous election that everybody knows was ridiculous. But I will revoke it. They have a trade. They're saying we're just beginning. They're not just beginning. They're teaching our people too much. I will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, meaning if China charges us a 100 or 200% tariff or tax, we will charge them a 200% tax. Very simple. It's called reciprocal. They charge, we charge. It sort of says, I shouldn't say this, because, Franklin Graham, I told the story the other night, Franklin Graham, he's such a wonderful guy. Billy Graham was his father, the greatest. My father used to take me to Yankee Stadium to watch Billy Graham. The place was packed, and he would get up and he would rant and rave, and you left there and you believed that it was God, in fact, that helped me last week. You would believe it if you listened to Billy Graham. And Franklin Graham is right, probably, but he wrote me a beautiful letter. He says, President Trump, I watch your speeches and your rallies all the time. I love your storytelling. There's nobody that can do it like you, but please, you're hurting yourself very badly. Don't use foul language. It made me feel bad, actually, because I don't use much. And if it is foul, it's not really foul. You know, there's really foul, and then there's a little off. Like some people they don't like the word hell. That's a bad word. You know, I mean, that's not good. Or the word bullshit they don't like, so I won't use it. No, it's true. But it's more descriptive. There's just no word to sort of. But he said, so please. So I've been really good. And for the last 4 or 5 times, I've really been good. But, you know, you lose a little something. But reciprocal trade, it basically means you screw us and we'll screw you. It's very simple. And I can't describe it. And I don't think it's foul. But he's probably right.
He's probably right, and Franklin Graham. But Donald Trump's got his way. You know, we're not looking for a preacher to run the White House. We're looking for a president. You got to be tough, you know. Franklin Graham is his own person with Billy Graham. And Billy Graham, you know, he dealt with many, many presidents. Richard Nixon, Kennedy, Eisenhower, all the way back, you know, and up through Bush and Clinton. You know, what do you think Billy Graham thought of some of the things that Bill Clinton did in the White House? What do you think? Morality? Franklin's right in his own little way, but a lot of Americans are loving those rallies. They wait for hours in line to get into those rallies. They waited. They want a message of hope. They want a message of greatness. They want a message of something that's going to be new. Drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. They want to get rid of a lot of these politicians don't belong in Washington, D.C. And there's going to be a judgment day in November when many of them are going to be voted out of office, hopefully. You know, they said in 2022 there would be a red wave. It didn't come. Didn't happen. It's got to happen this time in 2024. It's got to happen. Republicans need to earn this election. They need to vote. There's a lot of Republicans. There's a lot of independents on the fence right now. They're looking at Kamala Harris. They're wondering why Joe was kicked out, those Democrats that voted for him in the primaries, 14 million of them. They're wondering, why did Joe get the boot? Why? If he's good enough to be able to run the country for the next 4 or 5 months, why can't he stay in the campaign? Because they think he's going to lose. Because these Republican senators and congressmen think that they're going to lose the down ballots to Donald Trump when they go to the polls. So they took somebody like Kamala, the second stringer. You know, she's not the first one. We didn't vote her in office as president. The people voted, I guess, Joe Biden in, not her. She's his running mate. J.D. Vance, he's the president's running mate right now. We just got that news. You know, the Republican National Convention was last week, and Donald Trump was a man undone by himself. But on Thursday night, the would-be assassin's bullet, Mr. Trump attempted a politically cunning transformation. He said he would unify, promising a bridge of political divides he had long delighted in deepening. He mentioned President Biden by name only once. At brief moments, he struck tones more similar. Oh, that's the New York Times. The New York Times is so left-leaning. The New York Times is so left-leaning. They might just to say, call it the Democratic Times, because that's what they are. It's a Democratic newspaper for Democrats. I don't know why I waste my money buying it and reading from it, because they're Democrats. They don't like Donald Trump. We know that. So why is the New York Times say they're a news that's fit to print? They're one of the oldest newspapers in the country, and it's all run by Democrats. All the news that's fit to print. All the news that's fit to print. And then the New York Post, they're kind of more towards Trump, more towards a little more for the same, because they're trying to please both sides, I think, a little bit. So they give each side of the story. There's people in the New York Post that don't like Trump. But look at the gas prices in California: $6.55 a gallon, $6.61 for plus, $6.69 for premium. Where California Harris is from. California dreaming. There's Kamala Harris right out of California. Inflation Reduction Act. She was all in on it. She's got to accept the fact that all that was part of her. Do we have any more of that Trump rally there, Ed, or is that gone? And we could keep going with that if you want. Something you won't probably hear much on radio, but great rally the other day. Donald Trump, we parted him.
Under Biden and the radical left Democrats, inflation is wiping out our middle class. Groceries are up 57%. Gasoline is up 69%. Mortgage rates have quadrupled. They've gone up 3, 4, 5 times. And they never include that in their stats. They never include those things. They never include mortgage rates. And you can't get the money anyway. So what really is the number? And since Democrats took over, total household costs have increased by an average of $28,000 per family. Think of that. Under my leadership, we will throw out Bidenomics and we will replace it very simply with Maganomics. Maganomics.
Maganomics. Maganomics.
I have to just interject. If you would turn off those cameras, because I don't want this. See the screen up there of me? That's very severe, that comb over. That's a severe sucker. What's with that one?
Yeah.
It looks okay from the other side. But that is very severe. I apologize. Man, I looked up there. I said, whoa. Look at that. Wow. That's like a work of art.
Typical crowd wars. They love Trump.
Only look at that one. Don't look. That one looks. To bring down the prices of all goods, we will end the Biden-Harris war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to start that day one. Under the Trump administration, we had energy independence, and soon we will have energy dominance. We will be more dominant than any country by far, and we were just 4 years ago. We started off at number 4, we got to number 3, and then we had to beat Russia. We beat them. Then we had to beat Saudi Arabia. We beat them, and we were like a rocket ship. And then we had this idiotic result. But we will be, and again, we have more. Anwar in Alaska, it's probably the biggest find anywhere in the world. The size of Saudi Arabia. Some people say, who knows what it is, but it's massive. Ronald Reagan tried to get it, couldn't get it. And that was easier in those days environmentally. They stopped it with the environment. The environment is very important to me, and environmental is very important, but you can't use it to destroy a country. And they stopped it. They stopped it for years based on the environment. I got it approved. It was totally done. This is since Ronald Reagan, who worked so hard to get Anwar, he wanted to be able to drill in Alaska. Think of it as the size of Saudi Arabia, approximately, bigger than Texas, bigger than everything. We would have had something that nobody else even comes close to. And on the first week in office, his Department of the Interior person, who was just put in Department of Interior, she outlawed it. She said, we're not going to use it, stopped all work. They were ready to start drilling. It took them a while to get ready. They're ready to start drilling. The money would have been incredible. The prices were very high. We're the only country that stops drilling when the prices are at an all-time high. And we stopped drilling, but we'll get that back, and I'll get it back very fast. But Anwar, they got it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll get it back very fast. You know, Donald Trump has made a lot of promises he will do on the first day, but you got to elect him. You got to vote for this man. Independence, you know, if you're on the fence, you got to vote for this man. You got to do what Elon Musk did. Elon Musk, who was a Democrat for a while, but now billionaire emerges as the central character in the presidential race. Elon Musk told the group that he would be this would be the last free election in America, because if Joe Biden wins, millions and millions of undocumented migrants would be legalized and Democrats would be finished, according to the person. Democracy would be finished. Mr. Trump has to win, Mr. Musk said. Mr. Musk is a smart man. He's one of the richest men in the world, one of the richest men in America. Tesla cars, spaceships, SpaceX, tunnels. This man that he just sees common sense in Donald Trump. He looks at Donald Trump and he wants him to win so much that he's going to give him $45 million per month, maybe more. So Kamala Harris raised $100 million, maybe. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. We don't know. But we do know that Elon Musk is going to give Donald Trump almost $200 million for his campaign. That's one man. And others are going to follow. And others are going to follow Donald Trump all the way, hopefully, to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And appreciate Ed today. It's just a hard time in America right now. It's a real hard time for Americans. We're worried. We see our president, Republican candidate, shot a few weeks ago. We see the other president resign a few weeks later from the campaign, says he still wants to run the country. And, we're going to go out with that great song, Only in America. Because only in America can you really have a chance. But you got to have the freedom. You got to have the free speech. You got to have the free life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Get rid of the regulations. Drill, baby, drill. Get that black gold up in Alaska, like Donald Trump says. Open up the pipeline. Tens of thousands of jobs. Put tariffs on people that are bringing into the country things from other countries. Tariffs would be great. Shut the border. So many things that can be done. So many things that will be done under a Trump-Vance administration. God bless America.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
Listen.
Secret Service Director resigns.
I'm glad she did the right thing.
Delta still struggling.
How frustrated are you?
This is crazy.
This is the CBS World News Roundup, late edition. I'm Christopher Cruz. The vice president was in the battleground state of Wisconsin today, telling a diverse crowd of thousands she's ready for the top job.
Today I ask you, are you ready to get to